Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This one is entitled Skirting a Parking Ticket. This was once again back in my college days. I went to Nassau Community College. It was here. It was cheap. They had classes I didn't need that I had to take. And I got my degree. So really it doesn't matter. You just need that degree. It doesn't matter where you really get it from. So I got my degree. That's a whole story in itself. But anyway, the parking. You could not park at this college. There were two parking lots. There was the lot I went to that there were never any spots in. And there was the other lot where you might get a spot, maybe, possibly. The way I went there and the lot that I had to go to because it was closest to all of the buildings that I needed also not alleviated, but prevented my having to drive through the campus, which you didn't want to do if you didn't have to. And the fun part was, although there were roads that would lead from this lot through the entire campus to the other lot, those roads were blocked off and you could not go there. So instead, you had to exit that parking lot and drive all the fucking way around the entire campus to go in the other lot. That was like a mile and a half. That was a drive. And when you're just trying to get to class, and there's no guarantee there's going to be a spot in that parking lot either. So I just went to the one I did. And there's a couple of stories of that lot. Maybe we'll make that like a 3-in-1 that I just thought of now. But that'll be for another time. Anyways, this had to do with the tickets. So the way it worked was this. There were 10 rows. So you had the first row, which you could never get a spot in. The second row, which you could never get a spot in. The 14th row, you might get a spot in. You get what I'm saying. But you had to drive up and down these rows because people would come and go all day. You don't know when somebody's leaving. So if you saw reverse lights, whoa, shit, you stop and you're getting that damn spot. And there wasn't that much of some other dick pulling in front of you and stealing the spot. Yeah, it happened. I don't think it happened to me, but it happened. So the way it worked was this. Row of cars and another row of cars. And that was the first aisle, if you will. Just like most other parking lots, you park head in, and the other car parks head in. So that's those two cars made a row. And then you had like 15 of these going back. And of course, that's, a mile walk from there to the building, so you didn't want to get a faraway spot if you could help it, but to get one of them front spots, you had to be there at like 6 a.m. and your class would start at 8. So you didn't get any of them spots. Anyways, at the end of each row, to leave a buffer, I guess, there were 2 parking spots there, and the lines there had it hatched off. The yellow lines, like you can't park here, and then the divider line, and then on the other side there, the hatched off lines, you can't park here. Well, kids had to get to class, and there weren't any damn spots, and they knew full well that there weren't any damn spots, and nobody could park anywhere. So sometimes kids decided that they were going to park in that no parking zone. Well, what happens when you park in a no parking zone? If you're lucky, you get away with it, but a lot of times they didn't. So it was only the really desperate kids that would really try that, and I guess the parking ticket was worth it. Now, the way the parking tickets worked, as far as I was aware, was the college had like rent-a-cops, and they had their own little rent-a-cop building, and you would get your ID badges there, and otherwise they had little vehicles they'd drive around, and they would give kids tickets that were parked in these hatched-off areas. So kids got tickets, and I remember like every day somebody was parked in a no parking zone, and there it was, the ticket on their windshield. So I don't know how much they cost. Let's say $35. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But you had to pay the ticket. So you had to go to the little rent-a-cop booth and say, "Here, I'm here to pay my ticket." And you'd pay it, and that was it. If you didn't pay your tickets, you would not graduate. So they forced you to pay your tickets by the end of the year, and I don't know if there was leniency at all or anything like that. I don't know if the rent-a-cops, maybe they would have good days and bad days where you're 3 steps away from your car and they're starting to write stuff down to give you a ticket. Maybe they'll let you go and give you a warning. I don't know. Whatever it was, but we all knew that there was no parking. So I'm in that class that I talked about a couple of old war stories ago, where we had that really slow printer and we're all standing around it. And that kid that you didn't want to get on his bad side. So we're in that class and we were talking about how you can't park anywhere. And he says, "No, man, it's easy. It's really easy." You have to first understand that, like I said, it was the desperate kids that would park in these no parking zones. So oftentimes, of the 2 cars that were parked head in the no parking zone, there would be a car, but there wouldn't be one here. The kid that you didn't want to get on his bad side, this kid, he said, "No, you know what you do? When you see a car that's in the no parking zone that already has a ticket, you park on the other side of him, go to his windshield, get his ticket, put it on your car. So that way when the rent-a-cop came by, he'd probably forget which car was which, and he'd give the other car a second ticket, and you had the decoy ticket on your windshield, and you'd get away with it." Now, I never did this, but everybody was like, "Holy shit, I might try that." I guess for some kids it was worth the $35 gamble. Well, it turns out that years later, many years later, there was a day, I don't remember when it was, 2000, we'll call it 2007, that I was off from work. And if you remember the people that used to come to Jay's bar, Alyssa and Rob, they were off. And we decided to make a day out of it where we were going to go to the Museum of Natural History in Manhattan. And how do you get to Manhattan from Long Island? You take the train. Because if you thought parking at the college was impossible, try parking in Manhattan. So you'd take the train into Manhattan. So that's what we did. We walked from here to the train station. It's not that close, not that far. And we got on the train and we took the Long Island Railroad into Penn Station, Pennsylvania Station in Manhattan, and then grabbed a subway which brought you into one of the basements of, and I say one of because these buildings in Manhattan have sub and sub and sub basements. The train would run under this building, and you would get out of the train, go up an escalator, and it's as if you walked in off the street in Manhattan. That was pretty cool. So it was literally door-to-door service. Anyway, I don't know. It's during the week. It's 9 a.m. There were people on the train. I think it was off-peak hours. They have peak hours where you pay more, where like everybody's on the damn train. And they have off-peak hours, which is after that. And then again at like rush hour going home. So I think we chose the off-peak hours just so it was cheaper. And we were there, and something about parking came up. And I said, "Oh, hey, listen, Rob, let me tell you this story." So I told them the same story about putting the ticket on your windshield so the rent-a-cop wouldn't give you a ticket. And as God is my witness, the guy in the next seat on the train, total stranger, peeked his head around the seat and said, "I just want to tell you, that is fucking brilliant." I don't know, that kid, he had something going for him. Don't remember his name. Don't know whatever happened to him, but I don't know if the trick ever worked, but the premise is there. In theory, that will work. How it worked in practice, I don't know, but it sure sounded fucking great. I can tell you that. So that was that old war story. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.